A New York crowd with a grudge, a major championship already slipping away, and one silent gesture that broke the internet. At the 2026 U.S. Open at Shinnecock Hills, Rory McIlroy did not need a microphone, a press conference, or even a word to send a message. He needed exactly 2 seconds, and the entire golf world felt it. If you are new here, welcome. This channel covers professional golf the way it deserves to be covered, the moments on the course, the stories behind them, and everything in between. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a breakdown like this one. Now, let us get into it. To understand why this moment landed the way it did, you have to go back before the 2026 U.S. Open even began. You have to go back to 2025, and to a golf course just a short drive from Shinnecock Hills, where Rory McIlroy experienced one of the most hostile environments of his professional career. The 2025 Ryder Cup was held at Bethpage State Park in Farmingdale, New York. The atmosphere was electric, intense, and at times genuinely ugly. European players were targeted throughout the week, and McIlroy found himself at the center of some of the worst of it. But it was not only McIlroy who suffered. His wife, Erica Stoll, was struck by a drink thrown by a fan during the event. That is not heckling. That is a line being crossed in a way that has no justification, regardless of the sport or the competition. The incident was widely reported and left a mark, not just on McIlroy personally, but on how the golf world viewed New York crowds heading into future events. So, when the 2026 U.S. Open was announced for Shinnecock Hills on Long Island, New York, the question was immediate and obvious. Would the hostility follow McIlroy back to the same city? Would the crowd, even at a standard stroke play major rather than a team competition, carry that same edge? McIlroy himself addressed it directly in the week leading up to the tournament. Speaking to reporters, he said, "Look, I love playing around New York. I love playing in this area. It's got some of the best golf in the world." He acknowledged the Ryder Cup experience, but was careful to separate the two events. This is different, like the Ryder Cup is us versus them, very partisan, like it's just a different beast. He added, "But it is what it is. If that's a price to pay to live the life that I'm living, then I'm okay with that." Those were measured. Composed words from a player trying to approach the week with a clean slate. For the first few days, it appeared the crowd would give him one. It did not last. Before we get to the incident itself, it is important to understand what kind of week McIlroy was having on the course, because the two stories are completely connected. A player's emotional state during competition does not exist in isolation. What happens on the scorecard directly shapes how a player carries themselves between shots and how much tolerance they have left for everything happening around them. McIlroy began the 2026 U.S. Open with genuine promise. He opened with a solid round and briefly positioned himself near the top of the leaderboard. For a stretch, it looked like the Northern Irishman might be building toward a serious run at the title. The golf was clean, the momentum was there, and the possibility of a major contention felt real. Then came Saturday. Shinnecock Hills is one of the most demanding golf courses in the world. It punishes hesitation, it exposes weaknesses, and it has a long history of dismantling players who appear to have it figured out. On Saturday's third round, McIlroy got himself to 2 under par through 9 holes. He was in a strong position. The back 9 was the opportunity to make a real move up the leaderboard. Instead, it became the defining collapse of his week. Bogeys came in clusters. Opportunities disappeared. By the time he walked off the 18th green, the damage was done. Speaking to the BBC after his final round on Sunday, McIlroy did not hide from it. "I think it won the battle over me at this point," he said, referring to Shinnecock Hills. "Looking back on the entire week, I will rue the back 9 yesterday. I got myself to 2 under par after 9 yesterday, and the wheels came off, and I played a really bad back 9 and shot myself out of the tournament, so was really disappointed coming away from the course last night." Sunday brought no relief. On just the 3rd hole of his final round, a Sky Sports microphone picked up McIlroy berating himself after a botched approach shot. "Just go home. Rory, Fing hell, he said aloud. It was the sound of a champion running out of answers on a course that had already taken everything he had. He finished the tournament at 6 over par, tied for 32nd place, 10 shots behind eventual winner Wyndham Clark. It was his lowest finishing position since the 2025 PGA Championship, and it ended a run of 3 consecutive top 10 finishes at major championships. That was the emotional backdrop. That was the state of mind Rory McIlroy was carrying when the Heckler stepped forward. It was Saturday during the third round, and McIlroy was on the tee box alongside playing partner Maverick McNeely. McIlroy stepped up, hit his drive, and began walking back toward his bag. Standard procedure. Nothing unusual. Then it started. A fan standing in the first row of the gallery, phone in hand and already filming himself, began screaming, "Bunker! Get in the bunker!" He shouted. Then, as McIlroy moved away from the tee, the fan continued, "I hope you live there today." At first, McIlroy did what most professionals do. He kept walking, kept his composure, gave no visible reaction. He waited while Maverick McNeely played his own tee shot, but as McIlroy began walking off the tee box toward the fairway, something changed. He did not keep his eyes forward. Instead, he turned. He found the fan in the gallery. He locked eyes with him directly, and then, without a single word, he raised his hands in front of his stomach and made a gesture mimicking a large, protruding belly. That was it. No argument, no confrontation, no shouting, no request for security, just one swift, silent, perfectly aimed response directed at the fan who had been screaming at him. The crowd around the tee box reacted immediately. Laughter broke out among the spectators who witnessed it. The Heckler, who had been so loud and so confident just moments before, was audibly stunned. According to multiple reports, he sounded completely caught off guard by the response he received. He had gone looking for a reaction. He got one, just not the kind he was expecting. One fan in attendance later commented online, "Holy shit, this guy." You could hear him screaming at the end of Wyndham's round yesterday. Reports indicated this same individual had been disruptive throughout the weekend, not just during McIlroy's round. Within hours, footage of the exchange was everywhere. The clip spread rapidly across Twitter/X, TikTok, and Reddit, accumulating hundreds of thousands of views before the final round had even concluded. The golf world had its moment of the week, and it did not come from a leaderboard charge or a crucial putt. It came from a tee box, a Heckler, and 2 seconds of silent communication. The reactions were divided and loud. Many fans called it one of the funniest and most satisfying responses they had seen from a professional athlete in recent memory. Others argued firmly that players of McIlroy's standing should never engage with hecklers under any circumstances, regardless of what is being shouted. The debate between those two positions became almost as widely discussed as the gesture itself. There was also a third layer to the reaction, rather than directing criticism at McIlroy. A significant portion of the online audience turned their attention toward the Heckler. When it emerged that this same fan had reportedly been causing disruptions throughout the weekend and had even been audible during Wyndham Clark's rounds, the sympathy for his side of the exchange evaporated quickly. The media framing added further complexity. Some outlets described McIlroy's gesture as a brilliant, wordless clapback. Others framed it as body shaming. That disagreement in interpretation meant the story had multiple angles being argued simultaneously, and each new take extended the life of the conversation further across social media. But this moment did not exist in a vacuum. It was part of a pattern that had been building throughout the 2026 season and the tournament itself. Just 1 month earlier, at the 2026 PGA Championship outside Philadelphia, McIlroy had a very different kind of encounter with a Heckler. During a crucial moment in his round, a spectator shouted out during his backswing. McIlroy's response that time was immediate and verbal. "Shut the F up," he was seen saying, before pointing out the fan to tournament security and having them removed from the event. That was a direct, aggressive reaction, completely different in tone and execution from what happened at Shinnecock. At the 2026 U.S. Open, fan behavior was not only an issue for McIlroy. Wyndham Clark, who entered the final round with a 6-shot lead and went on to win the tournament, faced relentless jeering from the New York crowd throughout Sunday. Spectators shouted for his ball to find bunkers the moment he made contact. They cheered when his approach shots missed the green. They roared after each of his 5 bogeys during the final round. Clark is an American, a former U.S. Open champion, and he was attempting to win his National Open on home soil. The reception he received was unlike anything typically seen at a major championship. After the tournament, Clark addressed it directly. "It was an unfortunate thing I did a year ago at the U.S. Open, and it's brought some scrutiny to me," he said, referencing an incident at Oakmont Country Club during the 2025 U.S. Open, where he damaged 2 lockers after missing the cut. "I'm surprised at the reaction I got at this U.S. Open. I knew I'd hear some chirps, but I didn't think people would cheer against me." Clark also described his mental strategy for handling the crowd. "Anytime I heard something negative, I would replace it with something positive, whether it's about myself, about my golf, or even just anything. Look around and smile at someone and just say, 'All right, I'm going to win this with kindness and love.'" He won. But the question that remains for tournament organizers, the USCA and the PGA Tour, is whether the fan behavior witnessed at Shinnecock Hills represents an acceptable standard for a major championship. The phone problem is real and growing. Spectators are increasingly arriving at events not to watch golf, but to film themselves heckling players in the hope of generating viral content. That is what happened at Shinnecock. The fan had his phone raised and pointed at himself before he even started shouting. He was not watching the golf. He was producing content, using a professional athlete as a prop. Golf has historically been one of the most respectful sports in the world. Silence during backswings is a tradition, not a suggestion. At tournaments like the Masters, organizers do not permit phones on the course at all, a policy that has been cited repeatedly as a model worth considering at other major events. Whether the USCA will take steps to address the behaviors seen at Shinnecock before the next major at that venue remains an open question. What the Shinnecock incident ultimately reveals about Rory McIlroy is something that gets lost in the debate about whether he should have responded at all. He did not stop play. He did not confront the fan physically. He did not demand security. He did not issue a verbal response that could be weaponized or misrepresented. He used wit. He used timing. And then he walked away. That is a very different approach from the PGA Championship, where the pressure of the moment produced a verbal outburst and a request to have the fan removed. At Shinnecock, under arguably similar emotional pressure given the state of his tournament, McIlroy chose a different tool. Whether that makes the response more or less appropriate is a matter of perspective. What it unquestionably demonstrates is that McIlroy is a player who feels the crowd, processes it in real time, and sometimes decides that silence, delivered precisely, is the most effective answer available. Every shot Rory McIlroy hits at a major championship in 2026 is being televised, analyzed, and shared within minutes. Every expression on his face is being captured. Every word that reaches a nearby microphone becomes a clip. The reality of professional golf at the highest level is that players no longer compete only in front of the gallery walking with them. They compete in front of every phone, every camera, and every platform that can carry those images to millions of people within hours. That is the environment Rory McIlroy operates in every single week. Following the tournament, McIlroy confirmed he would be skipping the Travelers' Championship at TPC River Highlands the following week. Instead, he is heading back to his home near London to prepare for the Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, scheduled for July 16 through 19. I'll be playing some links golf this week, probably coming up, but yeah, it's my favorite time of the year to go back home and play. Play the Open, he said. That focus and that forward momentum are exactly what you would expect from a player of his experience and quality. The 2026 U.S. Open did not go the way Rory McIlroy wanted. The course won, as he himself acknowledged. but he leaves Shinnecock Hills with one moment that will be remembered long after the final scoreboard is forgotten. A 2-second, wordless exchange that turned a Heckler's attempt at a viral moment into something he almost certainly wishes never happened. Now the question is yours. Did Rory McIlroy handle that situation the right way? Or should professional golfers stay silent no matter what is shouted from the crowd? Drop your answer in the comments below. This is exactly the kind of debate this channel was built for. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit the like button, subscribe if you have not already, and share this with any golf fan who needs to see it. The Open Championship at Royal Birkdale is just weeks away, and we will have full coverage right here. Do not miss it.